Hello, this is Grandma Leah, the daughter of Jerusalem. Welcome to my channel. First, just appreciate, then complain later. On this channel, we discuss and share inspirational stories, achievements, and motivational acts of gratitude, appreciation, and patriotism. If it's your first time, welcome. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Importantly, please comment. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel, Grandma Leah, the daughter of Jerusalem. Today, please join me in discussing the Ahithophel Effect. And what does that mean, Ahithophel Effect? Ahithophel was a man in the Bible. In the second book of Samuel, the Ahithophel Effect is about listening to bad advices. It's about making bad decisions based on bad advices that people give you or you listen to. And Ahithophel was a man in the Bible that did just that. He was wise. He served in the court of King David. And everybody listened, even the wise King David listened to his advice. But Ahithophel gave advice that was very, very disappointing for a man of his caliber and his wisdom. The young prince Absalom, that is the son of King David, got pompous, so he decided to be rebellious, to overthrow his father, King David. Okay, he can do that. But what's the problem? The problem came now with Ahithophel, the wise counselor of the king. The prince came to him and asked his advice, what he was planning to do. Instead of Ahithophel putting the young prince straight, he joined him. He joined the rebellions. And then you will wonder why he joined the rebellion. But why? Then in fact, he advised him even more how to plan this rebellion, how to do it, how to overthrow the king, how even to murder the king.
First, go and lie with your father's concubines.
And then?
Then, let me choose 12,000 men and I will pursue David tonight while he is weary.
So Ahithophel's advice was that he would go down with Absalom with 1,200 men, and when King David was weak and asleep, they will murder him. But from his speech, you can see that it seems that Ahithophel has some score to settle with the king. He had his own motive. He has some vengeance to exert on the king. So, but the king, David, he prayed, and then he sent another spy to Jerusalem, and this spy confused Absalom and told him, oh no, listen, maybe we should do this. Do not go where Ahithophel told him to go. Do not do what Ahithophel telling you to do. But he did not say it this way. He pretended that he did not know what Ahithophel had told the young prince. So he just advised the prince, because you know, with the young man, with his ego, and I told you he was proud and pompous. So he told him, no, maybe you know what you do. You know your father. He's always vigilant and brave. He wouldn't go. So maybe we'll go this other way. It will be better for you. Because listen, after Absalom slept with the concubine, it was one step. So it was just another step to be king. Meaning that if he will kill the king, obviously he will be king. And that's all. That was all left. But then Absalom did not listen to Ahithophel's advice. He listened to the Hushai, who already aspired for the
The counsel that Ahithophel has given is not good at this time. Let all Israel be gathered to you, from Dan to Beersheba.
king advice. So then you will ask, then what is the problem with the advice of Ahithophel? The advice of Ahithophel was clever. But now, if Absalom had listened to what he had said, of course. But Absalom did not listen. And also, the betrayal, Ahithophel's betrayal is also that is significant. And Ahithophel, he being a wise man with a lot of experiences, advised the prince in that light, which ended up killing himself because when his advice was not heeded, he committed suicide. Absalom, being pompous and proud, riding a horse and a hair flying in the air, he got hooked in the tree. So Absalom goes riding with a hair flying in the air. Obviously, and the hair got stuck in the branches of the tree. And then Joab, King David general, came and saw him and immediately killed him, murdered him. Killed him. It was war. It was not a murder, but killed him. But why? I mean, the general knew that was the king's son. Why? Because Joab knew the king, if he had told the king that his son was caught in a tree and saved him, it would have been still disruption in the country. If Absalom had stayed alive, it would have been disruption in the country. So the general made the right thing by just killing him. And second, if you remember, King David, for his children, he was very weak at heart. You remember when Amnon, his other son, violated his sister Tamar, King David did not punish him. He let it slide by. So the general knew very well the king would have allowed Absalom to live, and this would have even been worse for the king because the people already was prepared for a new leader. So they didn't want, and so this general, there was a smart thing he did. He killed him, and that's it. So this is why when you have to exert some injury or do some evil, it is said by Machiavelli, you do it right away. You don't wait, think about it, come back. You just do it right away. And this is what Joab did. He just killed the young prince. Now, this is also what happened to cowards. When the people who always say, if I was in your shoes, this is what I would do. But they never do it. When Ahithophel heard that the advice was not heeded, he ran off to Gilo, to his country, and then he killed himself. He hanged himself. And they say he put his house in order, then he hanged himself. So, and then that was it. But today, I want us to look in this modern day, the time we are now, to see some example of people who have taken in history bad advices, who have listened to bad advices and heeded to bad and made bad decisions. Stay with me. The peril of the Ahithophel effect has affected great men and people in history. Simple and common example of the Ahithophel effect in our modern day is a case of the Arab-Israeli conflict. Now, in 1947, the United Nations proposed to partition the land of Israel, which was known as the Mandated Palestine, under the British rules. The UN proposal was that they should divide the land into two states, one for Jews and one for Arabs. Why? Because in the British Mandated Palestine, both the Jews that live here and the Arabs that live here, they were Palestinian. So the word, the Palestine, it was actually the British mandated name they fabricated, which were from olden days. I don't want to go into that part, but they fabricated this name, to give it to the Jews after the Jewish temple was destroyed. So they named it Palestine. So when you are in the British mandated time, the people here were Palestinian, both Jews and Arabs. But then, so you ask me, how is what's the thing with Ahithophel? I will tell you. So when after the United Nations proposal, they divided the land. Right away, the Jewish of Palestine accepted the partition plan and took what was given them, even though they received very less, a little, not much. But then the Ahithophel effect came into action. The Arab leaders in the surrounding Arab states at that time advised the other Arab leaders, the Arabs that were living here in Palestine, not to accept the partition plan because there were like 5, 6 Arab states that was including Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, all of them, Syria. They decided to advise them, it better will settle this matter with a military action. And it will be swift and devastating. So, they told them, about 3-4 days, you are going to come back to your home and you will receive what the British mandate had given you, plus the part that the Jews, because they will be destroyed. So these Arabs listened to the Arab brothers, barons, and left their homes and ran off, leaving their homes. But it did not work out that way. It was not materialized the way they planned. Obviously, 3 days, 4 days, weeks, months, time, years passed. It didn't work out. But these people left their home and ran off. It led to their displacement. This is a typical Ahithophel advice, bad advice. It was a bad advice. But then, even worse, they who listened to that advice and made a wrong decision. They listened to the advice and listened to that decision, which made them to pay a heavy price in both sides, Jews and Arabs. Because until today, the war still goes on. They are still paying the price. The Arab Palestinian and the Jews. But what you can say, Israel has established a state for its people, and the Palestinian now, because in 1963, then they decided to call themselves Palestinian, go back to the name when they were Ottoman Arabs, but now they call themselves Palestinians. So what then? They are still waiting for Israel to defeat. For the Arab brethren to defeat Israel. Now, coming to the second Ahithophel bad advice that affected is making wrong decision. The second one I want to discuss is the acceptance of the Trojan horse. Tell me, why would the Trojans accept that horse? The grief lie, oh, we are retreating, you can take that as a present, and this would be because it's the most famous artist in that time. He designed the horse, so you take it, and we are going, so we give you this beautiful. And the history say that in Trojan, the wise man said, don't take that gift. But as in every society, you always have the other people who have to go against. Why they are giving us gifts? You don't want us to have peace. You don't want us to be. So why they are giving it? It's a sign of peace. So you don't want, by refusing it, it's that you are refusing peace. You are not receiving love. And we see this in our modern day. People jump, making this kind of assessment and giving wrong advices, and in the end, people make the wrong decisions. And that's what happened with the Trojan horse. It was a wrong decision. It was a bad advice to accept it, and they made a wrong decision. And as we know in the history, they pay for it. And I always say, and then what the Ahithophel effect, that effect always brings evil. It doesn't bring anything good. Because Ahithophel, being a wise man, he used his wisdom for evil, even though it was clever. Exactly. The Trojan, the Greek gift to the Trojans was it was a gift. But it had an ulterior motive, in evil. Now, coming to another, the second Ahithophel bad advice that affected is making wrong decision. The second one I want to discuss. Now, another example I want to give is Napoleon. Napoleon winning the war here and there. What was the bad decision? Invading Russia. Russia, in the winter, it has a harsh winter, cold. Napoleon had maybe 600,000 men. He went to invade Russia. That's a good amount. With all his chariots and horses and these cannons and war machine. Good plan. Now, so what he wanted to extend French domain after conquering Spain here and there. But he made a wrong mistake by attacking Russia in the winter. And that was a downfall. His downfall. Because when he went to attack, he didn't think that in the winter, that what would be the Russians. They are used to the winter, they're soldiers, they can survive. France had a winter also, but not as severe as the Russian winter. So there where he met his downfall. Not listening to some of his generals advising not to do it. Stay put. You have what he wanted. Stay put. No, he went to do it and he failed. This also goes for Hitler. He did not learn from Napoleon experience or Napoleon downfall. He decided in World War II to also attack Russia, going the Russian front. And of course, which made a significant change in the outcome of the war, in World War II. Which was good in defeating the Nazi Hitler with an evil plan. As I said, Ahithophel effect, it sounds good and come out with the advices, but it also has underlying evil plan that lead into very devastating and bad consequences. So when Hitler, when he also fell in the Russian winter, okay, in the history there are a lot of other stuff you could add to the reasons, but my point here is listening to the wrong advices and making wrong decisions. So Dien Bien Vu, that war was bad for the French. Also a bad decision. Why? The French sent in their soldiers, and these soldiers were not used to bush warfare. Even though they have the famous and brave French legion that are fighting in the North Africa, in the desert, and many places, but fighting in the rainforest with mosquitoes and wild animals, I don't think that was a good thing for the young French soldiers at that time. So when the French went to Dien Bien Vu, they were defeated. They had to retreat. But what I said, also, it's a matter of bad decision, making that the assessment was wrong, because they assumed that it would be quick and swift with all their weapons. But this was more about guerrilla warfare that they didn't understand. Usually, big power, you don't win guerrilla warfare. Because guerrilla warfare, these people, you don't know where they are coming from. They just jump from only one hole here and there. So, all these people, the examples I gave, for me, it is what we call the Ahithophel Effect. When we listen to bad advice, basing on that, we make wrong decisions. Now, what is the point of the story with Ahithophel? Anything? The point with this, the advice is always some evil beneath it. It's always some evil beneath it. What is the evil? What did the young state of Israel do to the Arabs that they were living here? They were all living in the land of Israel. The two of them were under the British mandate. So they didn't think about accepting a homeland for themselves, accepting what was given to them. Even if they had grievances, they could have accepted and come back, go to the UN, maybe discuss it, talk about it. No. But they had an evil plan. What was the plan? That in 3 days we would finish them, we'll wipe them out, you will come back. So we would say murderous attempt. Their intention was to kill the Jews, the people that they have been living here with. So the Ahithophel plan is always people with murderous intent, with evil intent. Ahithophel told the young prince he would kill King David, but he had a ulterior motive for doing that, because he wanted to exert his vengeance against the king, to revenge about something. Okay, the sages and many historians, they have the reason why he wanted to do that. But my only point is about the advice and the evil action of it. So, when these Arabs here, until this day, they're having a state, and the problem with this thing also is that when people make wrong decisions and listen to bad advices, what happens? Of course, they have to blame somebody else instead of taking responsibility on themselves to repair the damages that has been done. So, because if they had come out and taken responsibility and repair the damages, take what they had, they wouldn't even be displaced. And listen, be aware, these people had, after all the war, the Gaza Strip were under Egyptian rules, and also the half of Jerusalem, East Jerusalem, were under the Jordanian rules. I mean, they could have still come back and say, listen, Jordan, you are my brother. You encouraged us to go to this war, but we lost, so give us there. Let us take the place back. They never asked Jordan for the independence. They never asked Jordan to give them back the whole of East Jerusalem. They never asked Egypt to give them all the Gaza Strip and all the places, nothing. But instead, another stupid Ahithophel action, another war. They attacked, and in the war, they had a war of 67, and like King David prayed, God answered. The whole land of Israel was delivered in the hand of Israel. It was led in the children of Jacob, the Jews. Now, what I'm talking about, my channel is more about gratitude. Why am I talking about this? I'm saying this because if even Arabs, you are listening to this, it's a time you all wake up and bring prosperity to your people. Stop the suffering. Stop the suffering, because all this war and things, you just be realistic. Just be realistic. Exactly what I said, and that you all know this is exactly what happened, and this. You could have asked for Jordan to give you back and get your independence. You could have asked Egypt to let you have your independence, but you didn't, and you still there just because your ulterior motive and aim is to destroy the state of Israel. But then with that kind of motive, you will not be able to, and you will only bring pain and suffering to your people. In conclusion, I would like to say to all of you, if you have stayed with me until now, so let's conclude together. Always double check when you are receiving advice from people. Before making the decisions that you would like to make, you have to check very well what would the consequences be. If the consequences will be good for you. Don't think about the man who is talking, who will say, if it was me, if I was in your shoes. You have to double check. We have many examples in history that we can go into all, even in the modern day. But what I can say, always double check. See who is giving this advice, who has what to gain. If you think that this will be good for you, you double check what you are gaining, what you are losing, what will be. And sometimes a lot of people move with the crowd. Once I was walking the market, and a man was saying, oh, at that time we had a prime minister here, and then somebody said, oh, the prime minister is a liar. The prime minister is a liar. So I heard the journalist ask, and what did he lie about? And then the guy who was yelling, he's a liar. Oh, he been saying a lot of things, I don't know. So what did he say that you don't know now when you are yelling over the whole crowd that he's a liar? I mean, these are the things. People just listen and follow the crowd, making wrong decisions instead of thinking for themselves, reflecting, and acting and doing the right thing. This is Grandma Leah, the daughter of Jerusalem. Thank you for staying with me at the end. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And stay tuned for my next video. It will be very interesting. Thank you. Grandma Leah, the daughter of Jerusalem. Like, press the bell, and subscribe. The Arabs of British Mandate Palestine were truly affected by the Ahithophel effect of bad advices and wrong decision making. They rejected the United Nations 1947 petition plan to divide British Mandate Palestine into two states, one Jewish and one Arab. The Jews accepted, but the Arabs rejected, with a delusional idea that the Arab brothers will come and defeat the newly formed Jewish state and wipe out all the Jews. The Arab brother encouraged them to leave their homes, that they will return in 2 or 3 days after they have defeated the Jewish state and wipe out all the Jews. This idea led to their own displacement and suffering. This was a clear sign, illustration of the Ahithophel effect. Listening to bad advice and making bad decisions, which can lead to devastating consequences. Grandma Leah, the daughter of Jerusalem.